So with me today, you guys, I've got another great agent, great story. Another one of our agents in our group coaching program. He's going to walk you guys through his journey from being a brand new real estate agent to the point where he's at now. And I can't wait for him to share a story with me today. I've got John Salzar. John, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Brandon.
I love it. I love it, dude. So let's jump right into it. We were just kind of talking off air a little bit, but what market are you in? And then give us the dates, how long you've actually been selling real estate.
So I'm out here in the Miami market. It's been a year, 5 months, and 5 days since I've got my license, but who's
counting? That's right.
Exactly. I got my license back in January 2020. I met Brandon, let me see, May 2nd, that's when I joined his program. And ever since then, it's been a good experience,
So you joined us May, thank you for May 2020, right?
Yes, sir.
Got it. All right. Very cool. So let's talk about when you first got into the business, as thousands and thousands of people do every year. They get into this real estate business because they think that it's something super sexy, super easy, and an easy way for them to get rich. Is that the case? Is that the reality? Or can you walk people through like maybe the aha that you had when you first joined real estate? And maybe, John, what was different about being in it versus what you thought it was going to be when you first got started?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I thought. I'm only 24 years old, so that's why I thought. I thought it was, freedom. You just get business out of the thin air, but it's totally different. You have to put in the work, put in the hours, lots of discipline, consistency. But as long as you put in the hours and take care of it as an actual business, it's gonna definitely pay back in the long run.
I love it. I love it. So I want to kind of unpack maybe the last year. I know we were talking off air about 2021 numbers, but do you have can you give us a framework or understanding of how much business you've done between May 2020, when you and I first started working together, and then now we're sitting here in May 2021, roughly how many listings, closed deals, things of that nature?
Oh, wow. I just noticed it's been a year since I've been with you.
That's right.
Okay. So my first year, May 2020 to like the ending of 2020, honestly, to be honest, I got 2 listings, but they didn't really, one was an expired, the other one was a for sale by owner, but I was kind of learning as well. So they didn't really sell, but I got 2 listings that I've never expected to get. Right.
Yeah.
Mostly it was just, looking at your videos, obviously the learning is in the doing. So I was doing calling doing cold calls every day and, getting rejected, getting no's and stuff like that. But definitely once the new year began, 2021, that's when I saw listings happening and it was just magic.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So watch, this is what's interesting. This is the takeaway, John, I want people to get. This is the truth. I like telling people the reality. I don't like selling BS to realtors. Yeah. The truth is it takes a good 4 to 6 months to really start building your pipeline and really starting to get results. And that's exactly what happened to you. So at the end of 2020, you were building a listing database, because now year to date, we were just talking off air, you're currently sitting on 10 closings at the end of the first quarter in 2021. Is that right?
Yeah, 10 listings taken.
Yes.
7 sold, 2 currently right now under contract, and 1 active as we speak.
Got it. So it took you, again, the learnings and the doing, it took you a good 6 months to get things rolling. Is that right?
Yes. The whole from May to the ending of 2020, I was just strictly just focus on your program, just learning going from each video to each video, cold calling, going on the classes you offer every week, and just learning.
now, that's great, because the other reality is what you're doing is very, very hard work. Like there are no magic pills. There's no secret sauce. It's John waking up every day, doing the work day in and day out. However, there's a lot of people, John, in the industry that are selling real estate agents like you and I a magic potion. They're trying to get us to believe that you can get to where you're at, where you're taking what, probably 3 listings a month. Is that what you're doing? 3, 6, 9, about 3 listings a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're trying to sell us that you can get 3 listings a month without picking up the phone, without talking to prospects, just posting on social media and sitting back and living the good life. Is there any reality to that you want to share with the real estate agents watching this in the future?
I mean, if you're lucky, you could possibly do that, get a listing here and there. But I believe in, getting down and dirty, making the calls. I believe it's a contact sport. I actually enjoy picking up the phone, cold calling, talking to different prospects, seeing what their story is, what's their motivation as far as selling. And obviously, once it comes down to the face-to-face, that's when things change, because, you're actually there. They're not as uptight on the phone as compared to in person. So yeah, definitely. I mean, you can market and, kind of post on Facebook, try to get a listing here and there, but I believe in actually the actual contact as far as making phone calls and getting the face-to-face.
Why? And I agree with you.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk all about that in a second. We're going to unpack kind of your conversion process, how you've been able to get 10 listings in 2021 so far. We're going to talk about that in a second. However, this is a really, really key point, is that why is it then you're getting great results? In your opinion, from your voice, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Why are there so many advertising and marketing companies that downplay the hard work, that downplay the real sales skills, that downplay outbound phone call prospecting, and try to sell this other life where you don't got to do the dirty work like John Salazar is talking about? You could just be a social media star and get rich. I mean, is there any truth to that whatsoever? Or do you believe agents have to pick up the phone and learn how to prospect and use their skills?
I think that's called the shiny object syndrome, something like that. I mean,
there you go.
You can try it, but what I would recommend is, try that, but at the same time, make your calls. Down here it's way too hot for door knocking, but if you want to go door knocking, go ahead and do that too. I mean, everything, there's a way for everybody, it depends on what you're comfortable with. I think calling is much more a better use of your time, because if you, let's say, for example, you want to go door knocking, what if they're not home? You just wasted all that time. So I prefer just calling, doing the calls, and, just getting that face-to-face afterwards, which is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, I always add, because I'm so passionate about this, because there's so many people, literally, in my opinion, lying to brand new agents, saying, dude, you don't got a cold call. You don't got a prospect. Don't listen to any of that crap. That's like from 1980. You don't have to do any of that crap. You could just do some social media stuff and you're going to be just fine. I have, and then we can move on. I have people that own those companies that want to get coached by me, because they're like behind the curtains, like a little Wizard of Oz moment. They're like, dude, this crap actually doesn't work. I'm selling Facebook leads and I'm selling Facebook marketing, but it doesn't actually work to get clients. So that's a whole nother story. The reality, the truth, if we're shooting people straight, John, you and I, it is a contact sport. Agents do got to pick up the phone. They do have to do the hard work. They do have to get their ass beat on the phone. They have to work on their skills, period. End of story, if they have any chance of making it in this business. And that's the truth. So now let's talk about your strategy. What lead sources are you prospecting right now?
Man, you gotta love them FSBOs. I love FSBOs. FSBOs, expireds early in the morning, absentee owners. I call those sometimes personally. I also have a VA calling them as well. What else? That's about it, Brandon, to be honest. FSBOs, expireds, and
absentee owner. All right, cool. So walk us through, John, a typical day. Like, what does your schedule look like, and how many contacts are you making per day?
So basically I wake up at 5 a.m, go to the gym, be back by like 7:30, eat breakfast, and be on the phones by like 7:45, 8 o'clock latest, because, in Miami, there's so much competition, it's 8:10 a.m. and, you start calling them at that time, and you already have like, hey, I just had 5 people calling me before that. I'm just like, wow. So definitely that's my schedule in the morning. And after that, do a little bit of reading, and then wait till like maybe 8:45, 9 a.m. and then start doing my new FSBOs. and even older physicals, follow-up calls, and just that kind of takes up your whole day doing the follow-up and old physicals and stuff like that. I have, like I said, I have the VA calling absentee owners every day. So, I mean, and then after that, in the afternoon, if I have any appointments from either 3 p.m. or 5 p.m., go to them. I try to keep, like you said, when I first started, keep the appointments in the afternoon, because, your mornings is your sacred hour. That's when you're, that's your appointment getting time, that's your prospect.
That's right.
So yeah, that's basically a day's work right there.
I love it. So it's very simple. It's not easy work, but it's a very, and here's the thing, when you're focused on working primarily as a listing agent, John, you have all the control over your time. You don't have to work nights and weekends, do you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely true. When I first started, I thought, I was all over renters, all over buyers. I mean, it's good, a good experience, but from what I'm doing now to what I used to do before, it's definitely a better use of your time. You have more control over it, definitely.
Yeah, it's great. And so when you prospect, you're prospecting 8 a.m. What time do you typically go till until you start doing something different? Till you break for lunch, or do you go to 11 o'clock, noon, 10? What do you do?
Honestly, I get so into it every day that I forget to eat lunch. Honestly, lately I've been just eating breakfast in the morning and then dinner, because or I probably have one of these during lunch. But
love it.
Other than that, following up, prospecting to maybe 12:30, maybe 1, 2, depending on what the day is, if I have any appointments that day. I try to have everything ready the night before, so I won't be doing all like the CMAs and net sheets the day of. So yeah, maybe to like about 1 or 2.
I love it, because you have now realized, and I'm again going back to when we first started working together, all the mindset stuff that you and I work through, but you now understand that your only job is to look for appointments and go on appointments, period. Everything else is just a waste of time and a distraction. Would you agree?
Oh my God, yes. I told myself that every day when I first started. Everything's a distraction. Say no to just
everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, I mean, those are the only two things. So do you have a goal every day with the number of contacts you're trying to make as far as it relates to your business plan?
So that's one thing I'm very bad at, Brandon. Like kind of
tracking your numbers.
I'm horrible at that. But I mean, in Miami, there's like at least 10 new physicals every day, at least 10 or more. Expireds, now I'm seeing that they're kind of getting shorter. Like there used to be at least 20 or more. Now it's like 5 or maybe 10 at most every day. But as far as contacts, I think about 15 or more, maybe 20. Again, I'm horrible at tracking numbers.
Sure.
I just get into it.
Yeah, I love it. You're just taking action. You're detaching the outcome. You're just doing the work. So let me ask you this. In a typical week, what is your goal as far as appointments goes? And my question specifically, are you focused on preview appointments or listing appointments right now?
Oh man, so I think I told you this before, my last coaching call with you. I was doing the preview appointments, at first. They went great. They appreciated the information and kind of value I was bringing to them. But I've noticed, doing the follow up, they will either go on the contract on their own, or they will list with somebody else. Because like I said before, there's so much competition out here in Miami. So lately, I've been getting these other listings as, I'd be straight up with them on the phone, like, hey, are you looking to consider interviewing agents down the road? They say yes. Okay, I was actually going to be in the area tomorrow. If I was able to stop by, will be best in the afternoon or late evening. They tell me late evening or afternoon. I come by, show them everything, and I just go for it right there and then. Because
perfect.
I know if I leave there just doing the preview and they'd be like, okay, I'll just follow up with you, they're going to be ending up listing with somebody else or going selling on their own. So why not just go straight with it?
Yeah. So that's so nice, because that's exactly how I coach. It's like in the beginning, go on a bunch of previews. Then once you build your confidence and your skills, we want you setting listing appointments on first contact. And so it sounds like that's what your business plan looks like. Now, let's talk about, I want to break down each part of the process. So let's talk about the phone call first, John.
Okay.
Let's talk about how you're able to set listing appointments. Let's talk about that first. Then we'll talk about the appointment afterwards. So what are you finding that's working well for you to get maybe a for sale by owner or any lead source to agree to a listing appointment up front? Like, what are some of the things that you're finding working right now?
I mean, the typical question, hey, this is John. Well, first their name. Hey, is this Alex? Hey, Alex, this is John with eXp Realty. I asked them if obviously they're looking to be offering a buyer's agent commission. They say yes, obviously. If the prop is, I asked them then if the property currently occupied or is it vacant at the moment. And then I just go straight to the question. I think it's the 2.0 question. Like,
that's right.
Hey, are you looking to, if a few weeks pass by and the property is still available, are you considering interviewing agents to help you get the home on the market and get you the highest price? They say, yes, maybe. Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah. Hey, I was actually going to be in the area tomorrow. If I was able to stop by, will be better in the afternoon or late evening. If I was able to stop by, they tell me afternoon. Sometimes they tell me, why are you coming for? I just tell them straight up, like, hey, what I was looking to do is preview the home. While I'm there, I'll give you some feedback and tips on how to sell on your own. And then I'll just go over that for sale by owner backup plan in further detail in case you ever need it down the road. And then obviously you can decide if working together makes any sense. I just do something.
Love it,
like
dude.
that.
Perfect.
And they say yes, I get their email, send them my resume, go on the appointment the next day. Obviously confirm in the morning though. Confirm in the morning.
That's right. So you're running the play to a T.
Yeah.
I mean, you're running that 2.0 strategy to a T. So you set the appointment. Now walk us through the typical appointment. Kind of walk us through what you do when you get there, when they open the door, and walk us through the entire thing.
So yeah, I get there. I come with a bottle of wine wrapped up in a nice like these things right here. These little baggies right here. I go in there, meet them. Hey, my name is John. Let's start off with the property tour, show me around. I mean, when I first started, I got first into your program, so I didn't go through all like that old school Tom Ferry stuff like that. So I heard that they made the prospect sit down and then walk, and then they'll walk around by themselves. I don't see the reason in that, because I take the opportunity to actually get to know them.
That's exactly right, dude. Right? You nailed it.
So yeah, we do that, and then once the property tour is over, I say, hey, I brought some great information, and would you mind, and would you be offended if I go over everything with you? And then they say no. We sit down, and basically I just go over the CMA, the for sale by owner backup plan, in pure detail, and then I go over the net sheet basically, and
love it.
Kind of discover what their motives are, by when they're looking to sell, and then I let them decide if working together makes any sense. Basically.
So it's real simple, right? I mean, through that conversation, you're discovering opportunities or not through doing that approach.
Yeah.
How often would you say, when you use that script, hey, would you be offended if I shared with you some information that I worked on before I came over? How often, John, do people say yes, or how often do they reject you and say, no, get out of the house?
I sometimes use that. It depends on if they're like a more dominant or more analytical person. Sometimes they tell me, so where do you want to sit? Let's sit over here. Like they're the ones offer me to sit. I'm like, okay. So I sometimes don't even use that line, but depends on the person. If they're more like a more timid person, that's when I kind of take initiative and tell them, hey, I brought some information. Would it offend you if I just share it with you? And, we just take it from there.
Would you find that most of the time they're okay with it? Like it's rare. The point is it's rare where people are like, no, I don't want to see any information. More times than not, they're open to sitting at the table. Is that what you're finding?
First started, that happened to me once. I was like, wow. Okay. So he just told me not told me to get out, but he didn't want to see anything. Cause I guess, but that was just that one time when I first started. After that, I already know what I'm, I have the experience, so like I know what I'm doing. So they either invite me to sit somewhere, or I tell them, if depending on the person, like, hey, let's sit down, and talk.
You got the confidence now, right? That's really good. That's really good. All right, awesome. I love it. All right, cool. So John, if you don't get the listing at the appointment, how are you staying in touch, and how are you following up to convert that into a listing later down the road?
So if I don't get the listing at the appointment, I typically, I already have sent them my resume, so they have my information. I also sent them the net sheet, which most of them tell me, hey, you came very prepared, very professional. Other realtors that have come, they just basically just bring the contract with them and don't even have anything else. So I just leave them that. I tell them, I'm honest with them, like, hey, how long are you looking to sell on your own before you start considering other options? Obviously what you see here is something that you've never seen before, and it's very helpful. It's kind of like a win-win scenario here. And they tell me, like, oh, we're just waiting a week or two. And then I tell them, okay, I'm going to follow up with you then. In the meantime, if you have any questions or ever need any resources, please feel free to reach out to me. I leave them with my folder, with my contact info, and just basically following up.
Yeah. So you're calling them once. So I love that. Before the end of the appointment, you're setting good expectations, right? You're asking good qualifying questions. So John, let me ask you, how long will you try to sell on your own before you would consider maybe interviewing me? They tell you, but then are you following up with a phone call, email? Like, what are you doing over the next couple of days or a couple of weeks, or you don't follow up at all?
Calling, I'm calling.
Yeah.
Get right into it. Just call, pick up the phone and call them.
Yep. So it's no BS. Yeah.
If they don't answer, just shoot them a text.
I love it. And what % of the listings you've gotten so far come through follow-up versus the ones you got at the first appointment?
What percentage?
Roughly.
So I think half.
50-50?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the first few ones I've got them at the actual appointment.
It's great.
I remember one, actually, she had the same last name as me, Salazar. So, but she didn't want to hear it from me anymore, so she hung up on me. It's been a few weeks already passed. I saw her on my follow-up on Mojo. I'm like, let me not call her. She was kind of rude to me. Let me just text her. And next thing you know, she invited me. Well, I kind of invited myself over. She told me, okay, it's okay. Come over tomorrow. Yeah. I sat down with the husband and wife, and they signed the listing. I love it. Yeah. So it was all strictly to text. Some might text depending on how they were acting with me before, and then some might just call. So it depends on the prospect.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, because I try to explain to agents how important the follow-up is, because I think this is where most agents really fall apart. Would you say that follow-up has got to be a key part in a realtor's business in order to win listings?
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, that's great. 100%. So if you started over again, okay, let's just rewind the clocks for a second. You're a brand new real estate agent. Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself that other agents watching this can benefit from?
Knowing what I know now, what advice would I give myself?
Yeah. Like, what would you do differently knowing what you know now versus the John I talked to a year and a half ago?
Oh yeah, definitely. From what I know now, make the calls.
Yeah.
Make the calls, be confident. Just, even though you're not getting anything the first few days, just keep on at it. The real estate gods are going to thank you afterwards. They're going to reward you afterwards with all the hard work and discipline you're putting in.
So consistency, discipline, and that's the thing. We get paid for the work we do today. It doesn't show up until months later. Is that right?
That's definitely true, Brandon.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. Well, listen, man, I'm excited for you to keep watching your career grow. What are your goals, John, moving forward into the future? Like, do you have a goal for closings for the rest of 2021? Where do you want to end up?
I have a goal set for 50 listings.
Got it.
I try to aim high, 10x. I see your book right there, so I had to aim high.
That's right.
So my goals for 50 listings this year.
That's perfect, man. That's great. And so you keep doing what you're doing. I mean, your pipeline is going to continue growing, and you're going to keep experiencing these moments where you have this big influx of business because of all the prospecting that you're doing. So listen, I love working with you. I love your mindset. I love your attitude. I want to thank you for doing this interview, because you're going to help so many other agents. So I appreciate you doing this with me today.
No, I appreciate you having me on, and I want to thank you for everything. It's been a year already, and I'm still at it. I
love it. And we're just getting started, man. So best of luck to you, obviously, for the rest of the year. I'm sure I'm going to see you on some of our coaching calls. But John, I really appreciate you taking the time, my friend. And I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Brandon.
All right. See you, brother.